You don't understand black history and you don't understand what Charlie was saying. Listen, after slavery, there was an explosion of success in the black community. We had Black Wall Street. We were married to the women we had children with.
He said, you don't understand black history. He said, you don't understand black history, while defending a racist that said that black people were better off during slavery and segregation.
Secret Service Sam here with a message about people like Officer Tatum, the Hodge twins, black men who make money off white fragility. And you have to understand, they are just using black atrocities to make money and to appeal to the MAGAs, the Fox crowd, the white racist people who love to hang on to one black man willing to validate all of their racist views. And that is exactly what Officer Tatum does. He is literally the definition of a race baiter. That's the irony, is he calls everybody else a race baiter, makes it about race, but you have to understand, when you are in the minority, we don't see anybody white in his comments. Go look at Officer Tatum. Go look at the Hodge twins. Go look at any of these corny content creators who played a white racist and show me more than one black person in their comments.
Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. In case you're new here, my name is Maren.
And I'm Maureen.
Right, so in today's episode, we're going to be reacting to Black Americans who are really angered by one media personality called Officer TATUM. I've seen a couple of his videos online, but I normally try so much as possible to avoid his content because honestly, I normally feel like my blood boils when I watch his videos. But in today's episode, we just have to play this because whatever I heard him say and whatever he's going viral for has left me bewildered.
Right. The first time we heard about Officer Tatum, we didn't know what kind of figure he was in America, but it was in 2024 when we were doing about Black American content, and at the time we were trying to understand because Black Americans usually classify themselves in different categories, right? For the first time we were hearing about foundational Black Americans. We heard about ADOS, those African descendants of slaves, and African Americans, and we wanted to understand why Black Americans or African Americans weren't just under one umbrella, right? And one of Officer Tatum's clips were the ones that we used in that video, and he was talking sense because he was representing the Black Americans who choose to identify as just simply Black Americans and not African Americans or African descendants of slaves, right? And in the comments section, there's so many negative reactions from our subscribers who knew Officer Tatum, and they knew him very well, right? And most of them cautioned us from using his clips because according to them, they didn't think he was a man you could reason with.
Right. But guys, I don't want to talk a lot because we'll be coming back with our commentaries. Let's watch what is happening and then we come back and talk about it. You can let us know your thoughts and opinion in the comment section. Also consider subscribing if it's your first time here. Let's watch and then we come back.
You don't understand black history and you don't understand what Charlie was saying. Listen, after slavery, there was an explosion of success in the black community. We had Black Wall Street. We were married to the women we had children with.
He said, you don't understand black history. He said, you don't understand black history, while defending a racist that said that black people were better off during slavery and segregation. And then the example he used during those times of successful black people was Black Wall Street, Tulsa, Oklahoma. A city that was burned down to the ground because white people did not like seeing black people be successful. He used the perfect example of why we were not better off during those days, and then said that we don't understand black history. That is black conservatism in a nutshell.
Charlie Kirk said black men like you were better off during slavery. Do you agree with him?
Now listen, 100%. You don't understand black history, and you don't understand what Charlie was saying. Listen, after slavery, there was an explosion of success in the black community. We had Black Wall Street. We were married to the women we had children with. Black people had a tremendous amount of success. Our success was growing faster than white people during that period of time. Now look at us.
Yeah, now look at you. All the progress people of color have made over the last few decades, and you're over here doing your best to set them back. Officer Tatum, what a pathetic bootlicker you are. I'm sure we're going to see plenty of memes in the comments of what you really are. Charlie Kirk said black men were better off during slavery, and you agreed. Well, why don't you agree to be a slave right now for 1 week? Be someone's slave if it's so much better. He said after slavery, there was an explosion of success in the black community. Yeah, you're right. Keywords. After slavery, not during slavery. Moron! Black people who worked hard for themselves were able to accomplish a lot rather than working hard for someone else. You said the success of black people was growing faster than white people, and you brought up Black Wall Street. Yeah, you're right. Now, can you please tell us, Uncle Ruckus, what happened to Black Wall Street? Does the Tulsa Massacre ring a bell? The people you defend burned down Black Wall Street. There were so many successful black towns that were torn apart by the same people that you're working for. Does this look familiar? This is Lake Lanier in Georgia, and it used to be a successful black community. They were drowned out, again, by the people that you support. Officer Tatum, you could be the biggest sellout in the whole country. What a sorry-ass excuse for a man. For a racist white person to say this shit is just evil. And with a person of color saying the shit that you're saying, holy shit!
Yo, who the f is Officer Tatum? I think somebody is literally paying that man to say the shit he's saying. Cause ain't no way, bro. Y'all gotta stop this shit, man. For real. Like, this man came out of nowhere. Since the Nolan Wells situation started, all of a sudden now there's a named Officer Tatum that's all over the place, trying to sway the minds of everybody to say that he's basically trying to make it seem like everybody's innocent who was involved with Nolan Wells, and he's going to try to sway the minds of people to make it look like Nolan Wells did it himself. It's all his fault. We need to stop blaming the people he was with. It's not them. It was him. At the end of this whole situation, he's going to try to make everybody put the blame on Nolan Wells and say that Nolan Wells caused his own death. Because who is this?
I didn't know who that Officer Tatum dude was a few months ago, but I've seen his clips circulating around. That's a generational level of self-hate. I don't think Slugs hate Salt as much as he hates black people. In the clips I've seen, anything that advocates for black people, you can just see the rage fester in his body before he speaks. His instinct is to nip it in the bud. I thought Jason Whitlock hated black people. That Officer Tatum dude, he's setting a new bar for sure.
Charlie Kirk once said that the black community was better off than we are now.
This shows they were actually better in the 1940s. But what happened? Something changed.
And he was entirely right. And here's why.
Charlie Kirk said black men like you were better off during slavery. Do you agree with him?
Wait,
you were
after
better
slavery. Let me explain, because maybe you don't know black history. No. You don't understand black history, and you don't understand what Charlie was saying. Listen, after slavery, there was an explosion of success in the black community. We had Black Wall Street. We were married to the women we had children with. Black people had a tremendous amount of success. Our success was growing faster than white people during that period of time. Now look at us. Now go look at any inner city in this country, and you see people getting murdered every weekend.
Yes, many black Americans are unaware today that after slavery ended during the Reconstruction period, black Americans went on to build prosperous cities all around America known as Black Wall Streets, where we owned all the land and we owned every business and home on that land. These cities were completely self-sufficient. Our money circulated 9 or 10 times in our own economy before it ever left. These cities would have been valued at billions of dollars today, with multiple black entrepreneurs that would have been considered millionaires by today's standard. We built the American dream for ourselves, even facing segregation and oppression. And do you know what happened? White mobs from the Democratic Party came and destroyed Black Wall Street within 24 hours. Yes, Democrats destroyed the black wealth and self-sufficiency. Only for a few years later for Democrat President FDR to offer the first welfare system, and we took it. You know why? For survival. For the first time in history, the majority of black Americans voted Democrat, and this was for survival reasons. But nobody ever talks about this. We never recovered, and we were never able to build back our self-sufficiency and independence because all of our insurance claims were denied by the insurance company aligned with the Democratic Party. Many black Americans have no idea about this history. All we know is that today we are aligned with the Democratic Party and we associate ourselves as Democrats, not knowing that ever since we began to identify ourselves as Democrats in the 60s, our communities have never recovered.
Officer Tatum constantly regurgitates white supremacist talking points. I mean, if you close your eyes and just heard him talk, you would think he's absolutely some redneck out in Alabama or Mississippi somewhere. This dude is a cancer to the black community. He's actually a cancer to American society because having somebody like him who constantly validates white supremacist ideology is dangerous.
Trying to figure out, Officer Tatum, what the hell is wrong with looking at yourself as black first before you're anything else, black before you're American, black before you're anything else. What's wrong with that?
Okay, because all black people ain't the same, and like for instance, we all different. So when I say I'm black, what does that mean? The color of my skin.
Can I interject right there?
No. Black people from New York is different than black people from the South. Black people from Africa that came over here as immigrants are very different than African Americans. We are all different. We're diverse like anybody else. When white people say I'm white first, what does that mean?
Let's stick with black people in this regard. When you talk about the slave trade and you said we were enslaved and then traded all over the world, who were those people? Black people.
Well, I'm simply
saying if you identify with that from an historical perspective, these are my ancestors. This is what we endured. This is where I come from, and that's what I identify with first. Because to some degree, I'm still feeling some remnants of that even in today's society. I'm saying if you identify yourself as black before you identify yourself as American, what you're doing is saying, coming out of the womb, I'm going to be at a disadvantage because I'm in America and I'm going to have to scratch and claw and have an uphill climb. Now, that doesn't mean you give up. That doesn't mean you use it as a crutch. It doesn't mean that you sit up there and use that as a reason to be lackadaisical and have a defeatist attitude and don't work your way and maneuver your way through that terrain in order to get to that point. But it does mean you at least acknowledging that, there are historical insidious acts that are associated with this particular nation that I live in. And as a result, I recognize the fact that I'm going to have to march forward and it's going to be a uphill climb for me to get to where I'm going. If somebody identifies that with blackness, you can do that.
But Stephen A., that's not always true that every black person have to suffer an uphill climb. That's not true. And we'll go back to like what I said. My ancestors came from Nigeria, so I know that, through my ancestry.com research that my people came over here as slaves. Not every black person in America came from slavery. It wasn't the case. Not every black person in America migrated here and was in the South. Some of them went to the North and were in indentured service and they never were slaves. Some black people came over here and became slave owners and were not slaves themselves. So it's a very dynamic differentiation between the experience of black people in its totality as existing in America. So me saying I'm black first before I'm an American, I think that's a misnomer. I think that's you're pigeonholing yourself because if you are going to say I'm black, that means negative. You're putting yourself at a disadvantage, man. And I say I'm an American first because I believe in American values. My ancestors fought that I can be free in this country. All of our ancestors were not the same, didn't come from the same countries, didn't speak the same languages. We are a diverse people. And we don't need to be looking at a skin color because I don't agree with a lot of stuff black people do. We ain't the same people. If you sagging your pants and gang banging and doing stuff that you're not supposed to, we ain't the same.
So if you have been following this whole Nolan Wells situation lately, there's been a lot of developments like within the last week. So if you've really, really been paying attention, then you know about Officer Tatum. I've known about Officer Tatum for a long time because he's a tap dancing, and I can't even begin to tell you how much I hate this guy. And I'm using his word. I I'm not using it lightly. I mean, I fucking hate his guts. I hate this guy. So, but, anyway, he's been running around here acting like, I mean, basically playing defense for the white boys that were with, Nolan Wells, right? And he is like, he went out and he did interviews with them. He's going around doing, going around the talk show circuit. I mean, he's going anywhere that they can take him to play defense for the white boys, right? And so I have a theory why he's doing this. Even if those boys are found to be involved with Nolan Wells' death, what Officer Tatum is doing that doesn't even matter. The bigger thing that he's trying to do is Officer Tatum is auditioning. He wants to be America's next top. And even though I'm making a joke about that, it's very lucrative to be like Candace Owens used to be America's top. And now she's been, moving away, and they don't kind of fell out with her because she's been coming after Erica Kirk. So Candace Owens used to be their top. And now they don't sort of fell out with her. Now they need somebody to replace her. And I'm telling you, Officer Tatum is applying to be America's next top.
Black men are the white people of black people. We are the entitled, largely uneducated, flamboyantly problematic group that offers that everyone else is the problem but us. We think that we should be the leaders of the black community without actually taking responsibility for negative things that happen within the black community. We offer that it is everyone else's fault that things don't work but ours. It's society not respecting the black man. It's the black woman not respecting the black man. It's the feminization of the black man. It's the masculinization of the black woman. It is the black woman choosing the wrong black man. It's the LGBTQ plus community trying to indoctrinate the black man. Everybody else's fault but ours. And if anyone steps outside the pocket to remind us in any way, shape, or form that we might be able to do better, then they're bashing black men. And don't get me wrong, things are hard for us as black men, but that doesn't give us the right to pretend like things aren't hard for other people. Like we don't make things hard for other people. That's what white people do.
Hey, what's good? So, listen, Officer Brandon Tatum, you are showing your true colors. And I'm not talking about the colors on the outside of your skin. I'm talking about you showing your true internal colors. You are obviously on the other side, on the other team. You are playing a dangerous game, brother. I can tell you that right now. You're playing a very dangerous game. I know you work for Turning Point. I know you work for Charlie Kirk and Turning Point. That's no secret. Everybody knows that. But, brother, you are playing a very dangerous game.
Officer Tatum is in 4K. I hope y'all enjoyed the entertainment of this fool. Maybe y'all will take heed to your grandmother's line when she says all skin folk ain't kinfolk. Your grandmama was right. We have always had this issue in the black community. It goes back to Malcolm X's breakdown of the house Negro and the field Negro. It goes back even further than that. Every culture has its group of cowards. And that's what Officer Tatum is. A coward. AKA in 4K. I love you, black man. I love you, black woman. Knowledge is power. Power to the people.
To me, slavery doesn't affect us today. Only in understanding how it happened and not repeating it, but it don't affect us today. There's nothing stopping me from being on the university full of white people. How am I any different than a white person? Let me tell you this. I want to say this. When people say that black people got a disadvantage in America, and they explore this idea or they exacerbate this idea of white privilege, they're essentially saying black people aren't better or aren't the same as white people. They're saying that black people are less than white people. Because right now,
Every black person on this campus should understand that there's nothing that a white person can do that you can't do. And if you don't feel that way, you've been tricked.
So guys, welcome back. Let us know what you think about the videos we just played you. Yeah, honestly, I'm not even American, but at this point I do feel like I understand what our subscribers were saying, you know, because I feel like at this point I even understand Black American history more than Officer Tatum, or let's just say he does understand it, but he chooses to act ignorantly. The unfortunate part of it all is that he has a large audience that he's helping spread this ignorance to, you know, because I look under his platform and I see white people there who feel validated because someone who is someone black. Someone who is black and someone like Officer Tatum is giving them validation for you know, feeling the way they normally feel. Officer Tatum, instead of educating these people, he's right there spreading his ignorance.
Right, and genuinely it is people like black people like Officer Tatum who bring the general confusion amongst black diasporans, and what I mean by black diasporans is black people from the Caribbeans, Africans, and Europeans and Asia, black people who are in Asia, who are trying to understand Black American history. But when we meet people like Officer Tatum, he further brings on the confusion and division, because Black Americans say one thing about their history, but Officer Tatum is over here trying to confuse the general masses, and he not only confuses black diasporans, but also white people who are not in America but are trying to understand why race is such a big issue between black and white people in America, and what were the consequences of slavery that are still felt up to today. When Officer Tatum comes forward and says that slavery was the best thing that ever happened to black people, even me as an African, I feel like this doesn't sit well with me, because
you can never say colonialism also was the best thing that happened to Africa, because
for us it wasn't the best thing that ever happened to Africa. Yes, we had a few benefits here and there, which were roads and whatever they want to call it, because they're also benefiting from those very same roads. But if you look at our history very, very well, history was lost in African countries, you know, history that we can never recover, because even until up to right now, our syllabus, our school system are systems that have to be approved by the British government before it is published here in Kenya.
Right. Furthermore, some of us still have our great-grandmothers who are living, people who are 99 years old, 80 years old, and 100, between those ages, who survived colonialism, and these people are still living with the trauma of what the white people did when they were coming to steal the land from them. And guys, when I tell you, imagine someone coming into your homeland to take away what is yours, do you think they're gonna do that peacefully? So the consequences and effects of colonization is still being felt up to date. You look at South Africans, and to some extent you do understand why they behave the way they do, because at the end of the day, those are the results and the consequences of what happened during apartheid. Apartheid didn't end that long, yeah, and its effects are still being felt today. So how can someone sit down in an interview and try to convince the whole world, and this person is black, that not colonization but slavery was the best, the best thing that ever happened to black people? If a white man says this, honestly, you wouldn't understand them, but you can attribute that to the ignorance they choose to work with. But why would a black man sit down in an interview, open his mouth to talk about how that was the best thing for black people?
Right. There was even a white man here amongst our speakers today whom even surprised me that he understands where black people are coming from when they say slavery wasn't the best thing that happened to the black community, more than Officer Tatum does, you know, because you would expect him as a black man to understand his community more than even white people. But one thing I came to realize with America, especially black people like this Officer Tatum, who have succeeded in America and right now have a good footing financially, not only financially but in the socioeconomic situation of America, some of them usually tend to forget what systemic injustices can do
they don't
to the
forget.
black community.
It's not forgetting, they just choose to conform, and they want to fit into the white man's space so bad. That is why he does the things things he does. Because for him to be an officer, you know, guys, I don't understand how, personally, I can see the social injustices, especially when it comes to white cops profiling black people in America. And Officer Tatum was a cop.
And some have even gone to the extent of confessing with their body cams still on.
They've been captured.
They've been captured saying that we only unalive black people. If you're a white person, you won't unalive. We only do that to black people.
Right. You see the grace that white suspects are given in comparison to the grace that, which is none, that black people are extended. Officer Tatum was a cop. At this point, I'm beginning to wonder what type of officer was he? Because if you're black, you've been in the system. Okay, let me just say, is the value you're getting that great to a point where you choose not to see, the suffering your people are going through, or the effects that are coming as a consequence of what they've been subjected to in America?
But deep down, I think he gets it. He just, because of money, chooses to pretend to not to get it. Because
this is extreme.
Because, guys, if you can remember the greatest satanist that ever lived in the world, I don't remember his name, but if you Google, I don't know if he was named Davis, or I don't remember his name right now, but if you Google the greatest satanist that ever lived, when he was dying, when he lived, he really corrupted people. He really believed in his Satanism religion, and he really believed in Satan could give him everything. But when he was dying, he died confessing that God is the only God that will exist and can absolve you of your sins, right? And when he died, for him to make that confession, it means deep down, even in his sinful ways, how he lived, he always knew that there was one true God, but he chose to corrupt other people because maybe he's the only one who knows why he was doing that. Maybe it was beneficial to him. And that is why I'm saying, even Officer Tatum, no matter whatever he says right now, he usually sits down some time alone, and I'm sure he usually thinks about what he says, especially the way he has carelessly spoken about the Nolan Wells situation, because right now, yes, it's suspected that it might have been an accident, but I think this is a 50-50 situation because the friends were not clear in what happened to Nolan Wells, so that is why people started speculating that they had unalived Nolan Wells. So right now, what would happen if the investigations are concluded and indeed he was unalived, and Officer Tatum has already gone out there and spoken very, very terribly of this situation?
Right. That was so disappointing. And for somebody, it's the heavy statements that came out of his mouth saying that during slavery, those were the very best times for black people. You tell me, how was slavery?
Who enjoys being whooped by...
who enjoys being dictated, who enjoys being told what to do, who enjoys sleeping hungry,
who enjoys being raped, who enjoys losing their children because their children have been snatched in order to be sold in another household, who enjoys losing their children because their children are being used as crocodile, Guys, I cannot say the words because of YouTube policies, but who enjoys that?
Anyway, guys, I'm just waiting to see when Officer Tatum will finally, because I know that day is coming. Not even changing. We don't even care if he changes. I'm just wondering when that day will come, when he'll have to sit down and the truth will have to be glaring him back in the eyes, in his face. I just wonder what. Anyway, it's not worth it. Guys, let us know what you think about this episode on the comment section. Also, consider subscribing if it's your first time here, and we'll catch you on our next episode. Thank you so much for always tuning in.